what's happening everyone? Pragmatic Addict here. I hope you're all doing well. So, before I get into this Hellfest, I'm gonna warn you guys, this is not your father's top 10 worst of the year list. So as I was selecting my top 10 worst films out of the 59 that I saw this year, it turns out that I believe the first 3 are fresh films. A couple in this list are like certified fresh. Oops. Also, I said in an earlier video that I posted recently before this one that I had actually held off on doing the top 10 worst and best films of the year because I still had like 2 films left of the year that I actually wanted to see. Well, thank God I did because one of those ended up on one of the list. What's that? You didn't see Babygirl and Nosferatu in the top 10 best? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I liked Nosferatu, so which one do you think it's gonna be? Anyway, before I get into this list, I am not going to go off and read every abomination that I missed this year according to Rotten Tomatoes, like I did with the best of the year, because unlike those films, well, fuck these ones. We're here to trash these ones, not pay our respects to them. But anyway, with all that being said, on with the train wreck. So first up, we got Blink Twice. More like blink and you'll miss it. This really is that kind of film for me and what Jeremy Johns would say.
I'm not going to remember in T-1 day.
Sure, I could have a little recap, watch my review for it, but I'm not going to do that for 3 reasons. First off, I don't care enough about the movie. Second off, that's for you guys, not me. And 3, there were in fact 8 films that I still know for sure that I thought were worse than this. And we still got to get to those, so let's get to them. And at number 9, we got Sting, the first of the creature features on this list. So first off, no, I did not hate this film because I'm an arachnophobe. Weirdly enough, I was actually kind of excited for this movie. I am a fan of creature features, and the teases of horror that we were getting from the movie in the trailers, as a creature feature, yeah, it was enough to get this arachnophobe into a theater, spending money on the ticket for this movie to see it in a dark theater on the big screen. Though surprisingly enough, this film didn't actually scare me one bit. And as a giant spider creature feature, there was no camp, no interesting story, no standout moments, no deaths I remembered. Not like something like Eight-Legged Freaks, for example, where all of that was very present and is still burned in my brain even after not daring to return to it in 20 fucking years almost now. I missed Infested this year because before going into Sting, I was like, you know what? Nope, not one spider horror film is enough for this guy. Kind of feel like I should have gone with Infested instead. So as I stated at the beginning of this video, thank God I waited for those last 2 movies. It's funny, in my top 10 best of the year, we had an A24 romance film, and in this list, the top 10 worst of the year, we've got an A24 romance film. Kinda? Yeah, we had Babygirl. I said in my trailer reaction to the movie that it just wasn't doing it for me, that I would just have to see what we would get with the final product. Well, that didn't do it for me either. What started off as a solid, impressive film having potential took a complete 180 once the film's real picture came into frame. It felt like complete fanfic, it was cringy, it was goofy, unrealistic, and overall just completely fucking disappointing as far as the solid opening that the film actually started with. But one positive thing I can say is that this is not the only erotic film that's going to be on this list. Now, we have a much trashier one that we'll get to later on. Man, I don't get excited for Exorcist movies at all, but I was really excited for this one based off of the production that it had going for it. And the speculation that I heard in the horror community. For example, the director of this movie is the real-life son of Jason Miller, the man who played the priest in the original Exorcist. This movie's premise also revolves around the making of an exorcism movie where the main actor on the set ends up getting possessed. Lastly, the main character's name is also named Anthony Miller. This film had everything going for it to be that behind-the-scenes love letter to the original Exorcist and all its iconic curse history. Nope, it's just another exorcism movie, another shitty exorcism movie, another exorcism movie with Russell Crowe, or a sequel to that mediocre exorcist movie. Nope, it's just another lame, recycled exorcism movie to join the endless pool of other lame, recycled exorcism movies. Alright, and the other creature feature on this list, we've got No Way Up. Alright, R-rated big screen shark movie. Who doesn't love those? A lot of times with creature features, they can be campy, sure. They can be stupid and over the top. But when you release an R-rated big screen shark movie in 2024, I want to see R-rated violence via shark on the big screen. Everything is going to streaming nowadays, especially shark movies. Holy fuck. We finally get a shark movie back on the big screen, and it's R-rated. And I know, again, that these trashy flicks have been around forever, and they're a bit nostalgic, but there's a difference between nostalgia and just straight up dated. Washed up. No pun intended. It was dated, not nostalgic. It was stupid, not campy. And the main attraction had the least amount of involvement. Alright, getting into the top 5 now. This just sounds fucking appropriate to be on a list like this. A PG-13 Blumhouse horror movie about AI. What else do you want me to say? Most things in this movie are exactly what you expected or feared coming from this kind of a movie. A horror movie clearly being a cash grab on one of the most controversial things of today with a PG-13 rating. So in my review of this film, I did say that this was basically this year's The Room for me as far as my theater-going experience, which this still is one of my favorite theater-going experiences of the year, maybe my absolute favorite. For a script this controversial, coming out in this time, with how absolutely juvenile it was taken care of, the levels of absurdity that came along with that, you are going to have an unhinged time. Nobody who actually went and saw this movie expected it to be good. They paid for the ticket because of all of those factors. Again, it was the theater-going experience unlike any other this year. Alright, getting to the top 3 now. Really quickly, I'm just going to say, my number 2 slot, I did not do a review of that movie. I saw that movie a while after this film, the very bottom pick, and Miller's Girl. And before seeing that movie, it was funny because I remember in my review of this film, I had mentioned that during the movie, me and my 2 best friends, when we went and saw this one, we had an ongoing debate in the theater, like whispering across each other, okay, so what is the actual worst movie of the year? This one, Miller's Girl, or what ended up being my actual number 1 pick? And I remember saying in that video that it's going to be a fun one at the end of the year when I have to actually figure out that order. Well, this is the order, except, again, I ended up seeing one movie later on where I was like, okay, this movie is just that much shit, and the only other film I could actually have it tied, like, I actually didn't know if my number 2 pick and my number 1 pick, I didn't know which order I was going to go with them in. But I have spent much more time with the first pick, so we're going to get into the second one just really quickly. So I've always been a fan of SpongeBob. Well, so long as SpongeBob was actually SpongeBob. As long as Hillenburg was actually in the picture. I like the first 3 seasons. I think the first film is fine. And I like the second film, which is, I believe, the last thing that Hillenburg was actually involved with, actually attached to. And I saw the Sandy Cheeks movie was streaming. I was like, yeah, I have Netflix. It's from home. Fuck it. Let's see what we get with Sandy's movie. There was no life, no charm, and the production of the live action use from a studio like Netflix, this is the epitome of a careless cash grab of a once beloved property that has long run its course. This is all really funny how this all came together. You know that saying, first is the worst? Well, in the case of the first movie I saw this year, yeah. I remember when I did a review of this one, I said in my review, it can only go up from here. Yeah, we got fucking night shit. I've got nothing to say, guys. Last time I watched this movie is going on like a year ago now. It was the very first and in fact worst movie I saw this year, and I already did a review for it. I don't care about it, nor do I have enough memory of the movie to do a recap on it. I spent the most time with this one, the first movie of the year. This one definitely hit me on a really hateful level. So guys, that does it for my top 10 worst films of 2024. Obviously, with every list, let me know what your guys' top 10 picks are. if you guys had any of these films on your list. Let me know what you guys would rank these specific films. I would love to know it. If there was any movie that I didn't do a review of, any movie that was on this list, if I haven't talked about it, you guys can ask me in the comments if I've seen it. I'll let you know what I felt about it. But yes, guys, with all that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a safe and happy New Year's, everyone, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Take care.